That's exciting. You got so much going on. How does that feel? Like to have come out here 7 years ago and now it's like everything is coming into fruition. Like that's a great feeling, I'm sure.
Last year, I don't think my feet ever touched the ground, but I think I think now I'm putting things a little bit more in perspective. I mean, it's a big blessing to digest at one time, and that's what I'm doing right now. So things are really, I'm being very respectful about about what's happening to me, and very humble as I can pronounce it to you. But it's not all about Kirby. It's really not. I mean, it was done in a way so that the project would take care of myself, but it's around so many other opportunities that this is going to create, and that's really that's the high that I'm kind of realizing. Like, all these other jobs and opportunity are necessary now because I just had an idea.
So you would say you had like this kind of vision, but now it's expanded to even more, and that you didn't even know that it was going to be.
No,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the ripple is just still growing and growing. And I'm looking at all these other generations of that ripple, and it's mind-boggling. It really is.
So what motivates you? Is there anything like things that motivate you? What led you to this point, that fire kind of thing?
I think my motivation exists on a couple of levels. I would probably say on an artistic level, just a deep passion, which is still the biggest part of that fuels my fire in terms of I have a way of how I like to see programming being done. And it's really in terms of a more, I wouldn't say, you can say clean if you like, but I mean it's just really my brand signature of my kind of programming.
Okay.
From growing up and watching, in the late '80s and coming into the '90s, watching so many different episodic series come on the air. You just kind of have your idea that if I had my chance, I kind of like to do things a little differently.
Okay.
And being still very appreciative to what's been done before. But so that's one of my passions. And also, I'm still an entrepreneur. I'm still a businessman. So when I see people like, the Harpo company doing so well, seeing the strides that Oprah is making with her company and outside of her company, I'm looking at what Steven Spielberg did. Universal was too big for him. I mean, actually wasn't big enough that he had to go and do it all over again and found his own studio, and look at what it's done.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah, so I look at what the Imagine has done, Imagine Entertainment and DreamWorks and Harpo. And that's on a corporate agenda. That's kind of like it really inspires me.
Okay, you kind of touched on this earlier, but what would you say to someone, a young person that's coming here, a writer, producer? What would you say to them? What kind of advice would you give to them pursuing, kind of like following in your footsteps?
Well, the first thing I would definitely say to them is, and it's somewhat of a cliche, but you really have to know there are so many different sides of this business. So definitely do not approach the business being one-dimensional.
Right.
Long gone are the days, I think, of, again, still being very respected to the 48s and the Cosbys. But we cannot be that kind of entertainer any longer. I think you really have to be the Harpo now.
Yeah.
You have to at least think that at one time you want to do a project that maybe you've written. You may want to get behind the lens and direct it. You may want to get in front of the camera and start it. So be multi-dimensional in your projects and carefully select your personnel, your relationships. Be very careful with that. Make sure that there's so many people in this town that want to get into this business, and I do understand it's not for everyone. It's not, and you really have to nurture your relationships, and even sometimes you have to protect your relationships.
Yeah.
So I think in selecting people who are in the best position to move your career forward will be key, and not limiting yourself to just one role.
Yeah.
And also, and with your craft, you got to always, keep an iron in the fire and to keep polishing your craft. So when the opportunity breaks for itself, you be ready to go through the window. And what happens is that once you get through that window, through that door, because you were prepared, and then now knowing what you know will keep you there. Yeah.
That's good advice.
Thank you.
Okay, if you were not doing this, what would you be doing?
I would probably, for a moment, I thought I wanted to be, because I went into medicine for a while.
Okay.
I finished my degree in the military, and I was a medical officer. So for a while, I kind of thought that I wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Wow, that's big. big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not really, but
Meaning like it's a whole
yeah,
separate
yeah, it
thing,
is,
you know?
it is.
But
Well, I'm a very analytical kind of a guy, which
Okay.
makes my writing very. It's a very meticulous kind of detailed attention that I can give my work, and I really, I see how that skill has kind of aided me because in TV is a machine,
Okay.
unlike film is a machine for the time being. I'm learning that in this trilogy that I'm working on with this
Okay.
horror show, but. Now that I've actually sold this show, I'm going to have to do it now. So, and it's like every week, and it's a machine.
Yeah, it's an ongoing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and that's why now me being meticulous and being very detailed has really
Comes
aided
into
me
play.
by leaps and bounds.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. So, I want to know if people want to know how to get in contact with you. How would they do that? Just let them know.
I can be reached first and foremost part of the Endeavor Talent Agency. I'm run by Mr. Lance Klein, and he's very open. He knows that I'm a very kind of hands-on kind of a guy with projects that people are looking to submit to me and into my company. But that will probably be the best way to do it. The Endeavor Talent Agency, and my agent is Mr. Lance Klein, and he definitely will let me know. Kirby, you might want to take a look at this, and I will.
Great. So we have Kirby Britten. Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. I've learned a lot myself today. Thank you so much for tuning in to Twyman Creative Insider. I'm your host, Nikki Brown.